it was more of a trap.
Yeah.
Of what other pastors were trying to catch me for, based on what I was going to become within the system.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a planned out trap. But a long story short, I get invited to a dinner. And this mother says to me, "Listen, oh no, my daughter's still taking a shower. You can have a drink or two, but I'm gonna just go buy some couple of things whilst you just make yourself comfortable." So as I'm getting ready and comfortable to sit and just enjoy myself whilst everything is going on, I can hear the shower in the background. I can hear the shower is running. The shower is running. So I'm like, but I know this woman, she's either stays with the daughter or it's the maid or something is happening. Literally when the mom drives out, this daughter, and let me not lie to you, gorgeous woman. Yeah. She walks out in a towel and says dinner is served.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Action. Thabo Andyle Mhlanga.
Yes, sir.
AKA Malume Ace.
Yeah, the triple A rated.
Yes.
Amazing, astonishing, and authentic.
Nice one, yeah. Welcome to the 20th Avenue podcast, bro.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. They also call you Pastor B.
Yo, we've tried to run away from that name, but it's stuck on me, man. It's stuck on me, and it's I think it's a name that has grown onto me. It's a name that I've learned to love. Yeah. Because no matter how much you run away from it, people always refer to it as you just have. And Pastor Bay is something that will stick on me for probably the rest of my life, man.
Yeah. Even if you're now an old man.
Yeah, and you know, it's something that I was 18 at the time, and I think I was one of the most powerful pastors at the time. In a church or in a setting that I was adorned by women. Yeah. The women would stick and they would love me, and every time I'd preach, they would reach out to me. Oh no, Muruti this, until one day someone's like, but I'm talking to Pastor B, and I was like, oh okay, and then from then on that name stuck, man. Name stuck. So I don't know if it's gonna stick till I'm 50 or 60, but that's the name I go by once in a while as well. Yeah,
but you eventually became a Pastor B, like you're trailblazing, like the center. If you know what I
mean. I love this because it's got an expose 101, man. Yeah. Well, you know, in life we all have our ups and downs, the journey of life is a journey of ups and downs, a wheel going round and round. And I think that's something I've gone through. I became a pastor at a very young age. I became a pastor when I was not mature enough to make certain decisions in my own space, in my own life, decisions for myself and even decisions for the next person. So that's how the name stuck, because Pastor Bay, as you say, trailblazing. I made so many mistakes as a pastor, made so many wrong choices as a pastor, made so many wrong decisions as a pastor, that I eventually got kicked out from the church. I lost friends. I had a kid outside marriage. It was just a whole lot. So when we talk trailblazing, man, I'm open up to talk about a whole lot of everything that happened. Yeah. But that's just literally the foundation of what happened in my space, man.
All right, let's start up with the pastor who was like tapping cheeks left, right, and center. Yeah.
You know, I think the biggest challenge or the biggest misconception that people have is that a pastor is not human. Right? We need to address that as much as you want this person to be spiritual, to be your father, to be your guide, to be closer to God than you are, to be someone who you reference God through, Mutoki is still a person. This person is still a person who is susceptible to sin, who is susceptible to temptation, who still lives in the flesh, who still sees booty as booty, who still sees a woman as a woman. So at times we there's a misconception that a pastor is fully spiritual and not human. So I think that was a misconception that happened with me, that people saw me at a level of, oh, we'll go to him with our problems, not knowing that I had problems as well. Okay. Or we'll go to him with our sin, not knowing I had sins as well. And for the most better part of it, we learn how to hide it as pastors. And I'll be very bold to say this on behalf of most pastors, right? Or all pastors. We learn how to hide what we are going through in order to strengthen the person next to us, or in order to make sure that the person next to us feels better about what they're going through. So many of us are struggling. So many of us were struggling. And I think it's more of a personal question that you asked. It was what I was going through. The struggle of gorgeous women throwing themselves at you. The struggle of young women throwing themselves at you. And not only young, even the older ones throwing themselves at you. Yeah. So it's the whole temptation around that you find yourself in. And as much as you are spiritual, as much as you pray, as much as you try to be a fatherly figure or a leadership figure, hey man, it's tough.
So at which point did you decide no, snap it, let me just dive in?
But you know, there's never a point where you just dive in.
Yeah.
There's never a point where you just dive in. At all times you're still trying to keep the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
You're still trying to keep the straight and narrow. And there's a book I was writing, I think you're gonna get to this later on. There's a book I was writing, Pastor by Day, Player by Night.
Yeah.
That you are never going to hide what it is that you are. Right? So many people try and hide because I'm Andyle, I am a womanizer. I'm going to try and hide behind being a pastor. It's going to catch up with you, right? And I think that's where it came to me, that I wasn't trying to bring it all out and say, okay, I am out there now. I wasn't out there. I was literally still trying to be in a shell, trying to protect myself, trying to protect my family, trying to protect my integrity as well in the church, yet knowing what I was doing on the side. So many times we are trying so much to hide that which we are doing in order to still be upright in the context of the church, in the context of the people that we are leading, and also in the context of the people that look up to us. Trust me, I lost a whole lot of friends, man. I lost a whole lot of friends. I lost a whole lot of trust. I lost a whole lot of people who looked up to me. Yeah. And was it painful? Yes, it was. Why? Because these are people who were there with you when times were good, but when times turned bad, you realize that they were alone. So you'd ask yourself a question: were they really with you, or were they just there with you because times were good? So at no given time did I just literally throw the fence in or throw the towel in and say, you know what, I'm going buck wild, I'm just going to be a crazy pastor, I'm just going to be buck wild and just enjoy myself. No, at no given time did I just throw the towel in. I literally tried to keep a facade, right? To protect myself, to still live an image of what people would see me to be, to still have the integrity that people believed that I had. So that's what I try to portray, man.
Right. So me and you, we grew up in the same church, which is the same church that you're ministering in.
Yeah.
One of the rules, or also in the Bible, they say no sex before marriage.
Yeah.
And here you are, a pastor. You're the same person who's preaching saying no sex before marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going on in your mind? Are you not scared or no? Like, this is a sin, bro. Like. So which conversation are you having with God?
So you realize, and I speak this with full confidence. You realize in the Bible, it's David. David was a man called after God's own heart.
Yeah.
Despite his sin, despite his limitations, despite his temptations, he's still called a man after God's own heart. I do not condone what I did, and I do not condone what I do, but I still believed that the Spirit of God was still with me.
Yeah.
Right. I still believed that I was still doing right. I still believed I was living in the path of my calling. And let me just pause there and say, your temptations do not take away your calling. What you do in the dark does not take away the fact that you're called. So I knew I had a calling, and I still know I still have a calling to this day, no matter what I still do. And don't judge me for this, but no matter what I still do, I know I still have a calling. And at times you run from the calling, you run from from what it is that you know you ought to be doing, right? And so coming back to your question, sex before marriage biblically is a sin. Do you know what I'm saying? Biblically is a sin, and we were raised biblically, right? Where we raised Islamic, where we raised Jewish, where we raised in Isintu, where we raised as both, where we raised in all other aspects besides Christianity? No. Where we raised even knowing the needs of a man in the flesh, No. And where am I going with this? So many a times we have this misconception that Christianity changes your needs and your wants and your sexual desires as a man. It doesn't. You are still human. You are still Ndebele. You are still Tswana. You are still Zulu. You are still Xhosa. You are still human. Besides the Christianity. Christianity is just a religion that came to try and change the beliefs that we have about certain cultures that we already had in our space. You will not tell me that Christianity takes away the fact that I have an erection at 13.
Yeah.
When I have an erection at 13, or when I get aroused at 13, I am becoming a man at 13, right? So when I get a calling at 18, I've had an erection first. I now know my sexual needs. Yet there is the 18 where I get a calling. How then do I merge the two to say I've got a calling and I've got needs? How then do I find the balance? So when I had issues about sexuality, I got a calling at 19, if I'm not mistaken, around 19. So when I get a calling and I'm being called into ministry, I need to deprive myself of my personal flesh and individual needs. And that is what a calling is. Where you constantly deprive yourself of what it is that you want, what it is that you need in order to satisfy the spiritual. So when you say, did I feel it was wrong? Did I feel it was, I'm a pastor, I'm a figure, I'm all this? It was wrong based on the calling, but was it wrong based on my need in my flesh?
You're satisfying the soul.
And the flesh. And the flesh.
Yeah.
The flesh had to be satisfied.
Yeah. And at some point, a certain mama invites you for dinner. And then you go there as the pastor, like you guys often call for dinner and stuff, so that you pray for them afterwards and stuff.
Yeah.
This mama decides to go and buy veggies while you're waiting for her, and then your daughter rocks up with a towel.
Man, you know that and I'm not saying this to please whoever is listening to this, but that's a story that traumatizes me, and it's a very sentimental and personal story to me because even when I write it in the book, it was more of a trap of what other pastors were trying to catch me for based on what I was going to become within the system. Right? So it was a planned out trap. But a long story short, I get invited to a dinner. And this mother says to me, listen, oh no, my daughter's still taking a shower. You can have a drink or two, but I'm going to just go buy some couple of things whilst you just make yourself comfortable. So as I'm getting ready and comfortable to sit and just enjoy myself whilst everything is going on, I can hear the shower in the background. I can hear the shower is running. The shower is running. So I'm like, but I know this woman, she's either stays with the daughter or it's the maid or something is happening. Literally when the mom drives out, this daughter, and let me not lie to you, gorgeous woman. Yeah. She walks out in a towel and says dinner is served.
Which one? The one on the table or the one which is wrapped?
Hey, Chief, we know which dinner is being served.
So you chose the dinner. Did you have dinner?
Do you know what? Because at the back of my mind, I knew what was happening, right? I knew this is a plot. I had heard stories already about how my downfall was going to happen. I'd already heard issues around that. So I chose not to, as much as I wanted to. I chose not to on that particular night. I'm not saying I didn't do afterwards, but on that particular night, I chose not to because had I been caught in the act, it would have been an issue. Had I done something in those perimeters, it would have been an issue. So I chose not to in that particular moment. I would have rather been comfortable, or I was more comfortable with dealing with her or meeting her after that whole premises on my account, not on the mother's account, which was probably a setup.
So you left a hungry man.
Yeah, but I was filled in the stomach.
All right, no, let's hold it there. Let's hold it there. Like, let's just take it back in time. I just wanted people to have like a brief background, like your story life, but it's not a story without page one. So let's go to page one. Like, who's Thabo Andyle Mhlanga?
Hey man, I get asked this question so many times when I do interviews and everything. Who am I and what am I about? If you'd asked me this about a couple of months, years back, I would have not known who I was.
Yeah.
But now I answer based on the experiences that I got out of and the experiences that I went through. Because I strongly believe we're shaped by experience, we are shaped by encounters that we meet in life. And I'll tell you this for a fact right now. I'm a person who has grown from the hurt that was caused to me and the hurt that I have caused to people. And I have made peace with the fact that I am hated and I am liked. I hate and I like. So there are people I do not want to encounter again. There are people who don't want to encounter me. There are people I want to encounter. There are people who don't want to encounter me. I'm a person who's in a space of contentment right now. Who's Thabo Andyle Mhlanga, a young man from up north in Zimbabwe, came here in 97. Came to Botswana in 97. Grew up here, mingled with people here, learned my roots from here, and I'll strongly say this: I am rooted in Zimbabwe, but I think I have implanted roots in Botswana again. So that's who I am. A person who has love for people, man. I'm a person who has love for people. A person who has got love for people who have had encounters with challenges, with tribulations, and who have gone through stuff that when they look back, they're like, hey, I am better than I was when I went through what I went through. Yeah.
So you grew up in a household whereby there's mom and dad, your grandfather's a pastor.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I grew up with mom and dad. So my dad is not a pastor. My dad was an elder in the church, but my grandfather was a pastor, right?
Yeah.
So I come from a very strong background. From my dad's side, my grandfather was an elder, and my grandmother used to work in the church. And then from my mom's side, my grandfather was a pastor, and my grandmother was also working in the church. So our family is strongly rooted in the spiritual, religious aspect of life. So I was raised through the Pathfinders, the Master Guides, the church system, and I have got a very strong foundation of that. I've got a very strong foundation of that. Yeah.
So at which point you received that calling?
So I was 19. We're driving out from. I grew up in Molepulule. Okay. My dad was a lecturer there. So we're driving out from Molepulule with a couple of friends. We are coming for a church function. This is how deeply rooted I was in the church. I would not miss a church program. I would lead in church programs. I would preach in church. I literally do everything church. So my life was in and around church. So we are leaving Molepulule, we're coming to Gaborone. This is I think it's the 24th of May, if I'm not mistaken. 24th of May 2009, if I'm not mistaken. I was 19 at the time.
Yeah.
So we're driving in, and just before we leave Molepulule, this car is coming on a straight, and we are meant to be turning. This car does not stop and drives straight into us. So when this car drives straight into us, it hits on my side, and funny enough, I don't get injured. The person on my left gets injured. We wake up the following morning. I'm looking at my friend. She's in a plaster. She's in what do you call this? Crutches and everything.
Yeah.
And something says to me, and I think this was my calling. Something says to me, you know what? How you got saved, or how you survived this accident, was for my benefit. Right? And
there's a voice.
Yeah, there's a voice. So being religious, being spiritual, I take that as a call from God to say, whatever it is that you are running away from, this is the second chance of life. Trust me, that car hit me full impact, but I do not have a scratch from that accident. Right? I don't have a scratch from that accident. I only limped for about 2 days, but the person on my extreme end was one who suffered the most pain and discomfort. And I swear to God, that voice to this day still tells me, hey dude, whatever you're doing, do whatever you're doing, but whenever you're ready, come back.
I'm waiting for you.
Come back. Yeah.
So I always thought that the calling was due to the fact that your parents and maternal grandparents, paternal grandparents,
man.
yeah,
It's never that. You know. I always tell people that your spiritual journey and your relationship with God is not transferred through bloodlines or Bluetooth.
Yeah.
It's mainly through your personal encounter and your personal need for God and His need for you.
Yeah.
Right. So, when God wants you, He'll pick you, and when you want God, you'll pick Him. Right. And this is why I boldly say, I'm in a pursuit or I'm in a journey where I know that I'm running. Right. When I'm needed, I am there. Funny enough, I still get calls. And this is the funny thing. The title never goes away.
Yeah, it never fades.
To this day, I'm still called Muruti. I'm just like, hey guys, if only you know what I was doing last night, and you still call me Muruti. But the title never goes away. And to this day, I'm still called that because of the lives that have changed. I meet a woman a couple of years ago, I think 2021, we're in Choppies, we're in a line, and I'm literally hungover and I'm just buying bread and a couple of things to take home. And this woman says to me, dude, you know, in 2014 when you were Pastor Go Good Hope, you changed my life. Your sermon changed my life. You touched me. You said this. And guess what? She says things that I have personally forgotten. Right? Yeah. She says things that I personally do not live by. She says things that have transformed her marriage and her family. And I'm just out there, I'm like, yo, wow. And I was getting to this. I still get called to speak to churches. I still get called to speak to some certain levels of youth based on the experiences that I have encountered, right? Am I still encountering them right now? Yes, I am. But they feel that even my encounters right now still make a difference to the space that they're in right now. And they still call me to come and, hey, dude, come speak to us, come preach to us, come share with us what you're going through, how you've overcome it, how best can we also overcome.
Yeah. Okay, no, we'll get to that. So at 19 you get the calling, and then you go to Solus University in Zimbabwe. You're going back to your roots. This is where you come from. I get it. So you're reconnecting with your roots. At the same time, you're following your calling. So how just take us through that whole process.
So the funny thing is, I went to Zambia first.
Oh, to Zambia.
I went to Rusangu. Beautiful school, man. I went to Rusangu for my first year of university, but I didn't like the culture. So Zambia is a beautiful country, beautiful people. Zambia's got 72 languages. Zambia's got a multi-dimensional ethnic and cultural sphere that I failed to mix with. If I go there now, I think I would love it, man. They are the Lozis, they are the Bembas, they speak Nyanja, it's a beautiful country, right? So I go there and I fail to adapt. I failed to adapt so badly that I literally knew I was called but didn't care about school. Because I had studied theology for 4 years. So I did not care about school, I did not care about anything else. I just wanted to have fun. I'm in a different country, I'm not known, no one cares about me, I don't care about anyone. I have fun. So I go there for the first year, right? But one day I tell my mom, so I was self-sponsored, I tell my mom, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this thing anymore. So can I come back home, rethink if I still want to deal with this coding thing, or do I want to do something else? Do I want to change my career path? Do I want to do law? Do I want to play soccer? What do I want to do, right? So she's like, okay, sharp. I come back home. I stay about 2 semesters, no school. So 2012, that's when I'm sent to Solusi, or that's when I am sentenced to Solusi. I call it a sentencing. So I'm sentenced to Solusi, and I go there and I do my theology degree, right? And amazing time of my life. I meet the most amazing people. I meet beautiful brains and everything. But now I am in a place where I am known. I am known because of who my grandfather is. I'm known because of who my mother is. I'm known because of who my family is in general. So now guess what? My freedom is taken away.
Yeah.
I can't be as liberal as I want to be. I can't be as vocal as I want to be. So I go into a little shell, but my shell is more traditional or cultural as it is. As we all know, there's this cultural background of the Ndebele and the Shona in Zimbabwe. So guess what? I stick to my Ndebele boys, right? So Singamachita, it's the Ndebele boys. We are known. We are what. And within the Ndebele boys, oh guys, there's a pastor. Hey, Kante, I do not know that this is gonna be havoc on its own.
Yeah.
So the boys, we hang. Every Saturday there's a braai, there's this, there's that. So it gets back to my grandfather, it gets back to my mother. Thabo. So back home I'm called Thabo, not the Andyle name that you guys all know. Thabo is now being rebellious. Thabo is hanging with the boys. These guys drink. They what. It's just a whole issue. So I'm in a place where I am meant to be finding comfort and freedom, but I am not because I am home. So everything that I do is reported back home. Yeah. If it's good, it's reported back home. If it's bad, it's reported back home. So for me, that experience of Solusi, or that experience of getting back to trying to focus on the theological aspect of life, was a nightmare, because when I do good, it's good. When I do bad, it's bad. And I couldn't find a balance for myself, right? I couldn't find a balance for myself. And I sailed through that period of my life for about 4 years, 3-4 years of that life, where everything didn't make sense to me, right? Everything didn't make sense to me, but I had to make my life make sense to everyone around me, right? So you ask people who were at school with me, they're like, he was a good pastor, but, do you get what I'm saying? He was a good pastor, but he was
a bad boy.
He was a bad boy.
So at this point, you started like harassing people's daughters.
Oh yeah. So you get to Lucy, right?
Yeah.
There's a dark street with jacaranda trees. If you've been to Zimbabwe, you will see the amazing jacaranda trees on this street, right? So they're jacaranda trees. So we used to call it Jack Street. Jack Street means where you're jacking. Where you're jacking is where you what's the word? Courting. When you're courting someone's daughter, right? Ushela. Yeah. So siyashela lapha and everything. So on that street siyashela, Porsche, everything is just happening on that street. So ukushela kwakho is always in the dark. Because I get the trees have canopies, so it's dark. Yeah. So you don't stand in a corner where there's light. You're always standing in the dark. Yeah. So ushela in the dark, and it's the least and worst place to find a pastor. Yeah. Ashela in the dark. Because you're thinking, uzoshela in a classroom, in the light, they're gonna talk, they're gonna what. But uzoshela gopi in the dark. So that's when I started my whole escapade. Yeah. And I think that's when
sexcapade.
Sexcapade, escapade, all capades. Yeah, man. Yeah. So I'm there, Nyashela, and everything is just happening there, man. Everything is just happening there. And when I say everything, literally everything. Literally everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, everything. Yeah. You just get into detail, bro. Like, this is a small podcast. No one watches it.
Boy, on the tree, in the bus, in the dark classroom, you would find any place. Yeah. I think you get me. So yeah, man.
Right. So which means like when you graduate now, like you're fully mature man. Like you skip that part of sex before marriage. Like you know a woman.
You know, you can never know a woman to her full potential or to her full capabilities, and she will never know you to her full capabilities. The fact that, and I'll use this word very loosely, the fact that you've got mileage on you doesn't mean that you have got the prowess to satisfy. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for us, okay, let me say for me, it was mainly about the moment and not the long-term satisfaction and not the long-term relationship. It was about that moment where I go back to my room a happy man. And I want you to remember this. The school I'm at doesn't allow for this to happen.
Yeah.
It's a fully pastoral, spiritual, religious sphere where none of this should be happening. You dare get caught, you are suspended, you're expelled, you are discredited, everything happens to you. So I'm in this space where I'm taking a risk, and I'm taking a risk because I want to.
Yeah.
Right. And it's about my satisfaction, and I don't care who else says what about me. I was called into a pastoral sphere, and they told me, "Hey, boy, you're losing it. You're losing it."
How did they know that you're losing it?
No. Dude, it was evident. And remember, the ladies would talk in the hostels. Pastor Mhlanga was dating ubani bani. Hey, benze lokho, they did this. News travels, right? News travels. So my boys, who I thought were boys then, who were worried about me, called me aside and like, "Hey, boy, clean up your act. Yeah, clean up your act. You're losing it." And in the moment, it looks like love. But then you look at it, it's more of an urge from them to say, "We wish we had the confidence to do what you were doing." Do you know what I'm saying? Because I won't even lie to you, man. At some point, I just didn't care. I was doing what I wanted to do. It was about me. It was my space. Hey, boy, if it gets back home, if it does gets my grandfather, if it's gonna break someone's heart, I just didn't care.
Yeah, it's good, it's nice.
Yeah, it's good. So I literally just didn't care.
Yeah. So now you're back in Ports, you're preaching, and despite being the bad boy that you are or you were, you're rocking on the pulpit, bro. Like you're rocking. You can read the Bible without even looking at it.
Yeah.
You change people's lives. What's going on there? Like, you know that you're a good son, but you're changing people's lives, but in the dark, like you're doing this.
Do you know why I'm enjoying this today? Because this is the first time I ever speak about it in person. I think I've written about it, and this is the first time I ever speak about it in person, as I genuinely am. Half the guys who interview me never ask me like straightforward like this.
Yeah.
But you know, so I leave Zim, and I've left a trailblaze of bodies and everything, right?
If you don't mind, you can just mention the number.
It's a trailblaze. It's a trailblaze. Yeah. So I come to Botswana, and I come here, and in fact I come back. Let me not say I come here. I come back because I grew up here, but I was sent to school. But I come back. So when I come back, the people I wanted then have matured. Everyone has grown up. Everyone has grown up. It's just like, whew, flowers have blossomed. Which flower are you picking? Yeah. Are you going for the roses? Are you going for the violets? Are you going for the lilies? What are you going for? So it was yo boy. It was just like, hey, choose umas ketel. Yeah. Choose umas ketel. So I come back, and I'm not gonna boast and beat myself on the chest for this, but I was one of the best preachers in the space. Yeah. I was not one of the best pastors, but one of the best preachers. Every single time I was called to preach, I would guarantee you, the church is full of young ladies. Young ladies. My age mates, slightly older, slightly younger, but everyone wants to be associated with this pastor, right? So it's just a whole pack. It's just a whole pack of ladies coming to the church. Yeah, so there's an influx of the young ladies, slightly older, slightly younger, my age mates, and I was the it at the time. Yeah. I was the it at the time. Where Pastor Mhlanga is preaching, everyone flocks. It's a guest day. It's a what? Everyone is there. So I come back, and it's new territories. You're trying to start a new life. You're trying to say, "Ish, I've messed up back home." Yeah. You're kind of trying to come clean up your act here. Hey, chief, it's worse.
The demon followed you.
Was
worse. It a demon? It was the devil. Is there
difference? Boy, I do not know. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say I was possessed. I want to say it was my choices. I want to say it was my choices, man. It's. Yeah, I left a trailblaze there. There's another trailblaze here. Yeah. Ngoba, it comes back to the story of the mom.
Yeah.
It's not the girls who want you at times. It's the parents who want you for their daughters.
Yeah.
So you get daughters thrown at you.
Yeah.
And the daughter's like, oh, okay, but yeah, this works. Oh, okay. So that's the space I was in, where I've had mothers hook me up with their daughters. I've had grandmothers hook me up with their grandchildren. I've had sisters hook me up with their siblings. I've had those situations. Anyway, you see, Ushela that I went through in Zimbabwe. Here I didn't need to share.
Yeah.
Here it was a silver plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You preach after the service.
Same day on the supper.
Same day.
You're not waiting for the sun to go down.
No, the sun will come up.
The sun will come up.
The sun doesn't go down, it comes up. It comes up. So that was a space I was in where it was presented to you, which I taught up way. Yeah.
So you'd choose, like, when you're preaching the
but do you know what the crazy thing is? You would have friends fighting.
Okay.
There were friends who would not talk to each other for months and months.
Yeah.
Because you Pastor Mhlanga, I preached a good sermon, now Pastor Mhlanga will do the most tonight again.
Yeah.
So it may have been my choice.
Yeah.
But at times they chose me before I chose them. Yeah.
Eish. No. So don't you think, like, had you gotten married immediately after varsity, that would have, like, stopped you from doing such?
You know, there's a painful story that I share about that as well.
Yeah.
Man, there's a woman I was in love with, man. Yeah, I was in love with that woman. She went to school in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So I pursued this. So I was best friends with her sister, her older sister.
Yeah.
Right. So I pursued this woman while she was away.
Yeah.
In Malaysia, I was still here at the time. I was still here at the time. So I pursued this woman, and she comes from Malaysia. She finishes school, and we literally rock it.
Yeah.
We fall in love. Everything is amazing. Everything is beautiful, and that's one woman I know, and I'm gonna say this very boldly. That's one woman I know I should have married.
Yeah.
I should have married. She would have kept me in the straight and narrow. Yeah. She had me in my box. She not controlled. What's the word? She didn't control. She knew how to. She knew how to handle me. She knew how to handle me. So, I don't get married to this woman, and then one weekend I invite her to Solusi in Zimbabwe, where I was, right? Because I'm a pastor and everything. I invite her to say, oh no, come through. But guess where I'm inviting her to?
School.
I'm inviting her to where I know I am doing nonsense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So she's sleeping with my female friends in their hostel. Guess what? He start bombarding her. Oh, that's your boyfriend. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A couple of weeks after we break up.
Yeah.
I learned to heal from that breakup, because that was one woman I should have been with, and I'll say this very boldly. But going back to your question, had I been married, would I have not done this? Had I been married, I think I'd have been worse off.
Is it?
I think I'd have been worse off.
You belong divorced?
No, not even. Do you know why? I think I was too young to think marriage.
I
think I was too young. I'm thinking of settling now, right? In the late 30s of my life. I'm thinking of settling now. But back then, I would have caused more heartbreak and heartache to someone else's daughter by my deeds, had I committed to her at the time. So I genuinely feel marriage for me was not at that time, and not in the last 10 years, but probably now I'm like, okay, sharp, I will settle. But I'm not settling as a pastor, remember. Now I'm settling as an individual, as a human being, as Andyle, as Thabo, who has tried to rectify the mistakes of his life and who's tried to pick up the pieces of his life. But back then, I don't think that would have been the way to go.
All right. So your only sin at this point is just sleeping around as a pastor, right? You're not performing fake miracles.
No.
You're not stealing people's money in the name of tithe.
And I'll say this very boldly, man. I've never touched anyone's tithe. I've never tried to perform any miracles. I've never tried to make you raise the dead. Never. My only wrongdoing at the time is just women, man.
Yeah.
It was, and during 1 week of prayer, one pastor comes and says, as pastors, you must stay away from two things. Stay away from church money and stay away from church honey. I don't know which pastor is listening to this today.
Yeah.
Stay away from church money, stay away from church honey. When it says church money, stop stealing from the church. Church honey, stop chowing the stock in the church. And I wish I had heeded that advice, because half the things that transpired after that in my life were a direct result of my actions of chowing church honey. Yeah.
So at which point you get caught? Like, who snitches on T-Boss?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. So you're chowing church honey, you're chowing church honey, then boom. Hey boy, I'm pregnant.
Yes. Yeah. It was now this was a regular item.
Yeah, no, it's not regular. It's a 2-night stand. It's a
OTI type.
Yeah.
One day international.
One day international, pow. And boy, I'm pregnant. What do you mean you're pregnant?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You're just like, hey boy.
Yeah. And
I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
That's when you know what I know. It's hit the fan.
Yeah.
You know it's hit the fan. So that's how I get caught. And she goes to the church, tells the church, no, you're a pastor. Now I'm no longer her pastor. You're a pastor. Muritwatsu has done the most.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. I get called to the church. Hey boy, I denied.
Yeah.
I denied.
Yeah.
I was like, never. Me?
Yeah.
Hey, let's do this. Hey boy, I go to court, I go to paternity test, I go to literally everything. I deny.
Yeah. But what would the paternity test say?
Obviously, boy, I knew it was me, man. I knew it was me. But I had to deny.
Yeah.
You deny until they take you to the highest office. So I get to court and it's me. Boy, I had to accept. I had to accept it's me. So that's how I get caught. And then now the stories start coming up.
Yeah.
And this is the painful thing about this whole situation. When they are having fun,
who's they?
The ladies.
Yeah.
They keep quiet. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when there's an exposure or an expose of everything, that's when they want to voice out. Oh no, even me. Oh, he was with me. Oh, we did this. Oh, this happened. This. But when everything was quiet, no one said a thing. All right. And to some I respect, to some I lost respect. Because some turned on me when it hit the fan for me, and some literally stood with me when it hit the fan for me. So it was a painful experience of knowing, okay, in your time of fun, in my time of fun, Rashab, but in my time of pain, and in your time of when I could expose you to, I am the bad person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I say I lost a lot of friends because there were caucuses, there were issues, there were people, there were groups, there were segments, there were people who did say things about me and were part of the people I did stuff with. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how I get caught, that's how I got caught, but with pain in my heart. So I think that's where my first book comes out, When Dreams Don't Come True.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, half of the people who said stuff about me, I've done stuff with you. And some of you, I know your stuff as pastors. Do you know what I'm saying? I know your stuff. But guess what? I'm not going to say anything about you. I'm not going to say anything to expose you. But why am I now being the villain for the same thing that you are doing, or even worse?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a very cagey space that I'm in. I'm like, okay, I'm caught. red-handed. Actually, now there's a baby, there's a pregnancy coming on. No,
Yeah.
I'm caught. But half you guys, I know who you're with last night. I can know you guys, we talk. We talk. Right? And it comes back to the point I was talking about earlier on. You are a pastor, but you're still flesh. We will talk about these things. So we talk. I know your stuff. You know my stuff. Why then am I the villain? Why then am I the one who is castigated and everything? So yeah, that moves on. But yeah, that's how I get caught, because I knocked up someone.
And what were the consequences?
I get kicked out, obvious. Chief.
You dethroned.
Yeah, they don't kick you there. They don't keep you there. They throw you out.
So this is the only child that was that you were.
That I know.
Yeah. That you were.
I'm kidding, man.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's the one. That's the one I know of, and that's the one that got me kicked out.
And this is the only child that you have.
No. I know. Now we be fruitful and multiply. We've multiplied, Chief.
We multiplied.
We've multiplied. After that, we've multiplied. We are happy with our multiplication.
Yeah.
If
with the same person.
Yeah,
with the same person.
Yo, we will multiply even more. Yeah, with the same person, man. With the same
so
person.
you made peace with this sister?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We are good.
So she's your current?
No.
Okay.
No, she's not the current. We are trying to move. We're trying to move. I think we're in good books. We still talk. We're still raising the kids.
Oh, you had another kid with you again?
Yeah.
How many kids, like, in total? 2. And then, Abako, how many kids do you have? That you know of?
That I know of.
Yeah.
Hey, boy. I've heard of another one in Zimbabwe, but I don't know. So I don't know if I know about them or anything. But yeah, man. Hey,
hey, kumbuleka type of vibes.
Hey, boy, and you know what?
Yeah.
And I take full responsibility for some of these things. You know what?
Yeah.
If God forbid, or let me not say God forbid, God grant that one day someone comes to me and says, "I've got a kid with you." Hey, I need to take it up.
Yeah.
I need to take it up. I am fully against men who don't take care of their kids. So if someone comes to me and says, "Hey, dude, you remember?" Obviously, I'm going to do my investigations and say, may I please have a paternity test to make sure? And if it is mine, I will make sure I take care of that kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
I'll make sure I take care of that kid.
Fair enough. So life after church now, you're in the streets now, you're a bad boy, like a real bad boy.
Never. Guys, where'd you get that from? Never.
Yeah. You try to fix your life together. You're now a tennis coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so you know, I've had many passions in life, and I've been very dedicated to a lot of things. I've played football, I've played tennis, I've played cricket. I've been a public speaker, I've mentored, I've coached, I've done everything, right? In my space, just to develop myself away from what I was as a pastor.
Yeah.
So I move away from the pastoral aspect of everything, and I don't know if you knew this or you went through it in the book. We've done the drugs, we've done the smoking, we've done everything.
Wait, let's go back to that. When do we do drugs? At which point?
After I get kicked out of the church.
Yeah.
So my mom tries to save my life because I'm going on a downward spiral. I'm drinking every day. I'm literally just a rascal at home and everything. She tries to save my life and sends me to America. Worst mistake of her life.
Yeah.
Worst mistake of her life. Guess what? I get to America. I'm staying with my aunt and my cousin and her husband. And the fact that I am not with my parents, I feel that I have got the liberty to do what I want to do in their space. Do you know what I'm saying? So I get to America and I meet a couple of guys. I get on drugs.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to say I didn't get addicted.
Which drugs were those?
I was on cat. And I was on marijuana, which I don't know if it's a drug or not. I was on marijuana.
Yeah.
Those were the two that I was cat mainly. You know, the awakening moment is when you find yourself not knowing what happened the night before, but you need what you had the night before to sustain you during the day again.
Yeah.
That's the pain of it all. And this is you trying to suppress the pain that you remember back home and everything. You're looking for the American dream. You're trying to move on and just find your space and your life away from Botswana, Africa, and everything. I'm in America at the time. So no one is holding me back because I'm like, my aunt, you can't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
My cousin, hey, when our age mates, relax. Everyone around me is literally just nonsense to me, except I meet another lady. She's my former high school friend, and then we start dating, but it doesn't work out because I am an addict. I'm not an addict, but I'm using.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not happening. It's not happening. I remember when I started writing my book, When Dreams Don't Come True. This is 2015. I tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, if you don't want your son, if you don't want to ever see your son again, don't buy me a ticket back home.
Yeah.
October, she buys me a ticket for, I think it was November 16th. She buys me a ticket back home and says, come. If anything, you will go back. But I tell her, I'm not going to go there again. Because I knew the freedom I had was so much that it wasn't saving me. It was destroying me. So this is when Andyle, the motivational speaker, comes in. This is where Andyle, the team building facilitator, comes in. This is where Andyle, the writer, comes in. This is where Andyle, the tennis coach, comes in. I am trying to pick up the pieces of what broke. Yeah. Right? After 20...
Broken but not mended.
Yeah. That broke after 2015. Right? I'm trying to pick up the pieces. So I come back to 2016. I'm actually just trying to... Sharp, can I go back to coaching? I've played tennis with these guys before. Let me go back to coaching. Oh, does your story make sense? Motivate people. Oh, can you write a book about your life? I'm literally scrambling for pieces in 2016. And I'm happy it made sense to some, right? I'm happy it made sense to some because people believed in the story. People believed in the motivation. People believed in the coaching. People believed in the mentoring. And I literally picked up the pieces, and this is where I am right now. This is where I am right now. Yeah.
So this was also you like having regrets and trying to fix your life.
A whole lot. You know what? I always say to people, if you live without regrets, you live without the prosperity or the future aspirations that you have. If you don't regret something right now, you have got no drive to make whatever you are better. So I've got tons of regrets, man.
Yeah, especially during your pastoral.
Oh yeah. If I had made better choices, if I had made better decisions, if I had associated well with a couple of my friends, and I'm slowly getting back into the space of being friends with some of my people. I'm slowly getting back into being the space with some of the pastors that I used to associate with. Getting back into the space of my own connection with God. Had I made those decisions back then, I think I would have not gone through what I went through. But guess what? I am very happy I went through what I went through. Because had I not gone through it, I would have not been at this realization or this point where I am like, I regret, but I need to constantly make a better decision moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 questions. What damage does like your sins from the past bring into your life after you get booted out of being a pastor? And then the second question, just answer this one and then we'll continue.
It's the reputational damage. The reputational damage. I think building a reputation is the hardest thing. Destroying it is the simplest. I had built a reputation of being a great preacher.
Yeah.
And so many loved me for that. But the damage was instant.
Yeah.
Gone. No matter how much I speak, motivate, no matter how much I reach out, no matter how much I write books, no matter how... People will always remind me of the damage.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, reputationally, I am still building. I'm happy I still meet a couple of people who still have hope in me, who still believe in me, who still give me a second chance, who still give me a chance because it's the first time they're meeting me. So it's the first time I am trying to get to know these people. So reputationally, I'm in a space where I'm still building.
Yeah.
Have I made it? No. Am I growing? Yes. Am I making the right decisions? I don't know. Am I making better decisions? Fully aware, so I am. So a reputation is something that you build, and I think I'm still building that.
Did you ever try going back to being a pastor, like at the church again?
Well, not necessarily at the church. I've got a friend of mine who's a DJ, so we've got a lot of backsliders within our system, right? In our church. So we tried to open a fellowship center. It was called All. Accepted, loved, and living. Accepted by God, loved by God, and living for God as you are. Right? All. So the motto was loved by God. What was the motto? For God and for men. That you are loved by God and you are loved for men. God still loves you the way you are. A place that welcomes all. So I did not try to necessarily go back to the church. I tried to open a fellowship center. It wasn't a church, a fellowship center, to say those of you who feel left out within the system of what we were raised in, right? Within the system of what we were raised in, with the principles, with the doctrines, with everything. Come, let's have a place where we can just be ourselves. We know you drink, we know you smoke, we know you're premaritally sexually active, we know you're on drugs, but we know that there's a conscience within you that still wants God, that still wants a certain level of relationship within your spiritual realm. So we try to open something along those lines, and trust me, they putted it out. The church put me out. Oh, you guys are gonna follow a Thabo, we're gonna follow Andyle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They killed it. But someone else opened something similar. It boomed.
Okay.
So it was about the name of who is starting this.
Reputation.
So that's why I speak about reputational damage. Someone else opens the exact same thing, but because who they are, yet it's the same person who's frustrated within the system, within the church, within the doctrines, within some things that they don't believe in, with which the church still does. Literally the same thing that I wanted to do, and they were like, God, no. So it was probably my reputation that caught up with me. Yeah.
So now let's talk about the man who's cleaning up his act. Who's trying to fix everything. Who's aiming for the A. You know, a motivational speaker. You get hired to speak it. You get paid to speak, man. You get paid to speak. If only people knew how much we paid you to speak on this podcast, bro.
Yeah, man. You know, everyone's story is an opportunity for inspiration to the next generation. I look at our generation, I'm at 2000. And our generation, MI 2000, is, for what we have known, is lost, right? For what we've known, I'm not saying they are. For what we've known, as the 90s and the 80s and everything, we know them to be losing their morals and everything. Getting to the space of me being paid to speak, cleaning up my act and everything, I adopted a motto that says aim for the A. Right? Aim for nothing less, man. Aim for nothing less. Get the A. Go to the top. Go to the top. Reach the summit of everything. And this is why I say I'm the AAA rated speaker. I'm amazing. I'm astonishing. And I'm authentic. I'm not gonna hide around what I have done. I'm gonna be authentic about it. I think I'm amazing because so many times we hide behind the fallacy of what people say about us, yet we don't tell our own story. So I'm amazing because I'm here to tell my own story, right? So it's amazing, well, authentic and astonishing how you narrate your story. So that's the brand. Aim for the A, being astonishing, being authentic, and being amazing. Aiming for nothing else but simply being real with your story, being real with your experience, and being real with the regrets that you still go through in your life right now, whilst trying to build your reputation. Will everyone believe you? No. Will everyone like you? No. Will everyone want to be associated with you? No. But those who you want, or those who want to associate with you, and those who are genuine about their experiences and what they have gone through, will associate with you because that is what I have branded myself to be. Amazing, astonishing, and authentic. Aim for the A.
Aim for the A.
Yeah.
So, like, does one have to go to school for this, for being a motivational speaker? Or is because you're studying theology, like, I know there's public speaking there's a lot of reading and stuff.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think it's how you share your story. I think it's just how you share your story. As much as you've gone through stuff, your story will always be your story.
Oh, so you're utilizing what happened in the past to motivate people?
Yes. Because and I'll tell you this for free. So many people resonate and relate with what you're going through, right? And when they resonate and relate with that, use that to your advantage to share. And you will always learn from the next person of what they're going through, what's happening in their space. Is it a divorce? Is it a child who's a delinquent? Is it a child who's on drugs? So I now know how to deal with a parent who's got a child on drugs. I now know how to deal with the wife who comes to me and says, oh, my husband is cheating. I now know to deal with the husband who says, oh, my daughter is this. Because I think I have experienced life in all those fears of being the cheat, being the cheated, and also being the cheater. I now know how it is to experience all that. So I don't think you need to go to school to be a motivational speaker. It's how you use your experience to inspire, to motivate, and to encourage others.
So what have you learned about getting a second chance or giving someone a second chance?
Yeah. Hey, man. I'm a big believer in second chances. I've been given a second chance at life. Right?
Is it worth it to give someone a second chance?
Oh, yeah. Totally. Totally. I've learned not to give up on people. I've learned not to give up on people. The person who... And let me say this to you. Not giving up on someone does not mean they should not go through the consequences of their deeds. Right?
Yeah.
I went through the consequences of my deeds. I am still going through the consequences of my deeds. It does not mean that I should be given up on. Not giving up on a child who is a delinquent does not mean they should not go through the consequences. When they go through the consequences, be it jail, be it sorry to say rape, be it whatever experiences that they encounter, based on their choices and their experiences, give them a chance to make better decisions out of that. Some of our decisions will take us to jail.
Yes.
Some of our decisions will take us to the mental hospital. Some of them will take us to hospital. Some of them will take us to places we never thought they would be. But learn to give people a chance, right? Out of their choices and out of the experiences that they have, right? I'm privileged. I'm privileged with the family that has given me chance after chance after chance. I lose being a pastor. I go into drugs. I impregnate. I do everything. But guess what? They gave me chance after chance after chance. And this is the biggest take home for me. That even if society does not give me a chance, family has given you a chance. Even if family doesn't give you a chance, some friends will give you a chance. If friends don't give you a chance, some people out there who have heard your story will give you a chance. So that is the experience and the encounter that you should always carry out to say, a chance is there. Giving people a chance, as painful as it may be, gives them a hope of life. And gives you a conscience to say, I gave someone else a chance. When you do wrong, you are not susceptible. You are not susceptible to not doing wrong. When you do wrong, one day you will beg someone for a chance. One day you will beg someone for a chance. And I pray that people give you a chance at your second chance in life.
You're still praying?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Have you forgiven yourself?
For the stuff I've done and my regrets, I have forgiven myself, and I live with the regret of not being forgiven. Yeah.
Some have forgiven you.
Some have. There are some who have not, but I live with the regret of being forgiven.
All right.
Yeah.
So all this affects the mental health system.
Totally.
And it's Men's Mental Health Month. No one is saying anything about it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the society doesn't give care about men's mental health?
Do you know what the biggest challenge is?
Yeah.
And I think the biggest challenge for me is our need for affection as men. I was listening to a clip by one of my favorite speakers, TD Jakes, this morning. He says, as men, we have been taught to be providers. We provide, but we're also taken from. We provide money, but we're taking time from. We provide the comfort, but this is taken from us. So many a times we want to be the provider, but we don't realize what's taken from us. The problem may not be that we are not recognized. The problem may be that we don't recognize ourselves. Mm-hmm. As men, what have we sat down around and the issues that we have to say we recognize ourselves? Mm-hmm. On Mother's Day or Mother's Day or Women's Day and everything, women clearly boldly say, recognize us. Mm-hmm. As men, do we cry, recognize us? Mm-hmm. Or we are just happy to say, it's Father's Day, it's Men's Month, it's this. What is it that we are doing as men as a cry for recognition? Mm-hmm. So many times our cry for recognition is putting a rope around our throats and that's it. Taking pills and that's it. Putting a gun to our heads, that's it. That's how we cry for recognition. When will we cry for recognition? When it is verbal, when we are talking one-on-one as men to say, this is my cry for help, this is my need, this is my want, this is my deficiency, this is where I'm lacking, this is where I need help. And so many of us are not crying out for help as men. And so, as it is Men's Month right now, we are wanting recognition from people who do not know what to recognize within us, mm-hmm. because we don't know what we want recognized within us. Mm-hmm. So as men, it's a calling to you. Can we recognize ourselves? Can we say something about ourselves? What is it that we need as men before we want to be recognized by women, before we want to be recognized by our kids? What is it that we want as men? Where is our recognition?
Because as much it's difficult, like for me, maybe I come to you, I'll be like, yo, Tibos, kind of like like I don't know, I can just say maybe, okay, let's say I'm having like sexual reproduction problems.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm saying I'm going deeper.
Yeah. Let's go.
It's difficult for me to like approach you, even approach my uncle, approach my father, approach my young brothers, big brothers. So like, I don't know, like, is it that thing whereby a man is told to, a man doesn't cry. Be a man, son, be a man.
I think that's the biggest challenge. I've got a 6-year-old. And I talk to him about sex.
Yeah.
Right now. The other day I saw him erect. I was shocked. I was like, chief, okay, sharp.
Yeah. Big boy.
It's what has been indoctrinated within us, mm-hmm. right? What has been indoctrinated within us to say you don't talk about certain things mm-hmm. that affect you. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying when we cry for recognition. So when you're saying you've got sexual reproduction issues, when you're saying you've got abuse issues, your wife is hitting you or anything, who have you cried out to? You are saying there is no avenue to cry out to, right? Mm-hmm. In times of need, in times of dire need, there is always a person you will tell. But does that person you will tell, is that person you will tell a confidant or is that a spreader? Mm. That's what you must differentiate. Are you confiding in this person to say, help me? Or are you telling me in the fact that I've told you I am okay, I've told someone. Mm. What they do with the information, they will do it. So many of us don't have confidence in life. Mm-hmm. Who is your confidant? Mm-hmm. Who is the person you look up to that you can keep a secret with? Who is the person who can mold you, build you, grow you, and make sure that you're in a space of confidence with them? Mm-hmm. There are people you tell something today and you're not sure if you'll hear it from someone else the following morning.
The problem is that these days niggas talk more than women.
Niggas talk more than women, and that's the biggest problem, because now we don't have confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Find a confidant. Find a confidant, someone who you know. You know when you say to someone, please don't tell the next person. Mm-hmm. At times you say that.
Go and tell them.
Yeah, at times you say that as in, but when you say it as I'm telling you as a confidant, I'm telling you as a confidant. You're my confidant right now. This stays in this room, this stays here, no matter how hard it is for you to keep it in, you are keeping it in for what? For the sake of my well-being. Do you know what I'm saying? Some people don't have that. And so many guys have got fake tears at funerals when someone has committed suicide.
Yeah.
Because some people reached out to you, but how they reached out and what they reached out to you, you took as a joke. So this is also a plea or an urge to men. Are you in the space of being a confidant? Can someone confide in you? Can someone hold you responsible for their secret? Can someone hold you responsible for what they have told you about their personal space? Some of us are probably our own confidants. Because we now tell ourselves that I know, sharp. I'm fine. But can someone come to you and have you as a confidant? And that's probably the next question we should ask. In the regard or in the space of men being or men celebrating Men's Month, are you a confidant? Are people confident with you? Yeah. Kasjit. Take care of. Man, you're getting me deep now.
Yeah. Go deeper, Papa.
We always say be your brother's keeper.
Yeah.
Be your brother's keeper. What your brother goes through is what you're going through. And you will not keep your brother if you have not experienced what your brother goes through. We're living in a generation and a time where so many of us are mentally unstable, suicidal, in a space of hurt. It's rough. It's rough. Be your brother's keeper. Are you in the space to be strong for your brother because you strengthened yourself, yet you went through what your brother went through? So many of us are probably not. But can we be strong for the next person? For the sake of their well-being?
How do we show that support?
For the sake of their well-being. So many times, guys, and I'll be very candid and frank with you. So many times when my boy tells me, hey boy, I cannot clip. I cannot clip. Like that. I know how to clip. I know how to clip. So many people, and this is where we get into space. You know, if you ask me how I want $100, I already know what $100 is for. Guess what? I tell you, boy, I cannot clip. Let's go watch the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know you wanted a clipper to go buy beers for the game. But guess what? When I say let's go watch the game, I have not told you let's go drink. I've told you let's go watch the game, but the drinks are obviously on me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So many of us don't know the acuteness or the straightness of how to get someone to their space. I know this guy, clipper thing. Do a six-pack. But don't buy him a six-pack. Tell him, hey chief, no, on the way there, regular six-pack. Regular six-pack. On the way back, sharp. Guess what? That guy's problems are done tomorrow morning.
Yeah, hero, lifesaver.
You are a lifesaver. You've saved him in the moment. You don't know what you have done within the 5 hours you left him alone. He calls you again the following day. Chief, what's again? Hey, I can 30 people like you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 30 people. Come like us. Do you know what I'm saying? We need the mindset to discern what someone is going through, because and I don't know if it's a gift for me. I already know when someone asks me for something, I know what they're going through because I've gone through it. I
think it goes to the issue of having a confidante. So exactly. If someone is your confidante, yes, you know their language.
You know, and the language speaks to you.
Yeah,
the language speaks to you.
Yeah,
yeah.
So before, due to the sake of time, so some of the people that you went to school with, your peers and stuff like that, not necessarily that you went to school with, but I mean like
people I've associated with.
No. People were studying theology at the same time with you.
Okay.
You went to a good church, like I will endorse that church on every day. You went to a good church, like we should actually invite more people to come to the church.
Yeah.
But some decided to open their own churches.
Yeah.
The next thing we see people performing miracles. I don't know if it's multi-miracles. Some even hire actors to come and like, what's your take on these funny pastors? Like, I call them funny pastors.
Yeah.
Some have even been busted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be very frank and honest with you.
Yeah.
I have friends who've done that, and I told them, you know what? Do not play with God.
Yeah.
God is not a man that you should play with him.
Yeah.
I've had 2 friends pass away in the process of doing funny act miracles.
Yeah.
Yet they were pastors.
Yeah.
My take on that is very straightforward. Based on my experience, what you do in an attempt to please people will catch up with you in the process of you being disgraced by the people you try to please. That's the simple thing. We see these offshoot churches that are coming up. They're literally just coming up from nowhere and anywhere. And these are guys. Some guys. I don't want to lie to you, man. Let me just say this straightforward, and I'll face the camera for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going to school to study theology is not a joke. You do not take 2 weeks, 3 months, 7 weeks to study a theology degree. That thing is deep. That thing is deep. For you to understand the Bible in its context, in its language, in its setting, in its timelines, in its origins, you go in deep. I'm not saying 4 years is enough. I'm not saying timelines are enough, but the people who wake up tomorrow morning and are pastors from the bar, I do not know, and I do not condone, and I do not want to say anything to condemn. But have the ability to question, as a believer or as a follower, have the ability to condemn and question certain things that are done outside what you believe. As a pastor, I am not wholly accessible to God on my own. As a believer, as a follower, you are the one who can access God on your own. The Bible says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one else comes to God except through me. No one says through the pastor, through the elder, through the deacon, through what everything. Every one of you is accessible to God. So to the pastors, as you might offended as you will be, I'm sorry, but not everyone has to come through you to access God. God is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. He is there. So not everyone has to access God through you. So with that being said, some of the pastors we see, some of the pastors we experience feel they're the alpha and omega of spirituality. They feel they're the top notch of spirit. I was watching a clip the other day. Some pastor says, if you see me in heaven, if you don't see me in heaven, just know you're not in heaven. And I'm just like, what audacity do you have to say that? Do you know what I'm saying? What audacity do you have to say that? So some of the things we see right now is not a lack of leadership. It's a lack of wisdom. The Bible says, it's a lack of wisdom and knowledge. The Bible says, the generation today perishes because of lack of knowledge. What do you know about what God has said to you, not to your pastor? What do you know about what God has said to you? As a follower, as a believer, as someone who is in a spiritual frame of mind and a religious frame of mind where God speaks. So it's just I don't know how to comment on this, but some of the pastors are doing extraordinarily ungodly things. And I don't want to judge based on the history we've spoken about, right? Yeah. But extracurricular ungodly things in the pretext and in the context of being men of God.
Where do these miracles come from, bro? Like, are they using multi?
There's powers. There are powers, Chief. There are powers from the evil one. There are powers which are like that are not. And those powers come to act. Some people buy multi. Some people go buy powers. It's a crazy world out there, Chief. And if you do not have if you don't have your personal stand, anyone will make you stand.
So, speaking still on religion and spirituality, seeing a lot of youngsters our age going downwards, they're becoming sangomas. It's trending.
Yeah.
It's like Google fashion type of vibe. Yeah, what's going on there?
Hey boy, so I've got a very good friend, a very, very good friend, no Josh Mapong.
Yeah.
Very good friend of mine.
Vuzijen.
Yeah, Vuzijen.
Yeah.
You know, Josh is on a journey, and his journey is very unique. Josh is trying to understand our African culture, African background, African space, African roots in the context of all the religions that have come. So before there was God, there was Mudim to the Tswanas. Before there was God, there was Unkulunkulu to the Ndebeles. Before there was God, there was Uthixo to the Xhosas. Before there was God, there was Mwari to the Shonas. In simple terms, what the Sangomas and everything are doing right now, they are finding their path to their roots. And I'll boldly say this, is nothing wrong in trying to understand your background, trying to understand your lineage, trying to understand your forefathers, trying to understand what is happening to you right now in the space that you are in the 21st century. Because when you look at the Bible, it says Abraham the son of, Isaac the son of, Jacob the son of, what the son of, until they get to Jesus, because they are lineage issues. They are lineage issues. But guess what? When we get to lineage issues, now I'm a Sangoma because what? I'm trying to find the roots of my father. No. We need to understand ourselves in the context of whether we are Africans, or I am a Dube, I am a Mhlanga, you are a Ncube, you are, where does that come from? And how do we relate to God in the context of our forefatherhood, or in the context of our religion, or in the context of our background in our space? So our young generation, the Sangomas and everything, I don't condone, but I think they are on track with trying to understand who they are. Ask yourself this question: why is it that's in my family, everyone at the age of 24 had a kid?
It's a Mhlanga thing.
Do you get what I'm saying? So we need to trace. Before we put the God, before we put this, let's trace. What is our lineage? What do we understand about our lineage? How did the Mhlangas relate before there was this God? How did the Mhlangas relate to this Nkulunkulu? How did the Mhlangas relate to Mkhulu Mdali? We need to ask those questions and find answers to that in order to understand the bigger picture. Who is the God of the Mhlangas?
Yeah, but the same Bible says that we mustn't communicate with the dead.
But then we ask a question then. So the God of Abraham is not dead. Jacob is not dead.
Everyone.
Isaac is not dead, but he's called the God of the dead.
It's like saying Baba Andyle's father.
Yes. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in all of that, that's what I'm saying. We are not communicating with the dead, we are understanding the dead. We are understanding because we are lineage, if there's a word like that, we are lineage based. We are historically based. We are. This is why you can trace back and track back to the Shagas, to the Lopengulas. You can trace back your lineage. You trace back the issues of how did those people relate. Right now, if I were to ask my father, how did my grandfather relate to Smang Mang? If my grandfather was alive, I'd ask my grandfather how he related to Smang Mang. I'd ask my great grandfather how he related to Smang, and I'd ask. It would trace back until we find. Remember, we're not communicating. We are tracing what we are, who we are, in the context of this whole religious sphere to understand how then do we fit in to this religion. Did we have a belief system before this religion? Did we understand our own belief system before this religion? Do we agree with this belief system before we got to this religion? How do we relate? And that's what matters.
I think this one is it's on podcast.
Yeah, this one we can go on and on.
I think you should actually bring Josh for this one.
No, I can talk to him any day, and we can have a chat and just enjoy ourselves around this topic.
Yeah. So when is that book coming out that you canned? Player by Night, Pastor by Day.
Yeah. So it's a book, Pastor by Day, Player by Night. It's just the revelations of what pastors go through, man.
Yeah.
These people are flesh. They are weak in the spirit. They have got issues. They have got temptations. They have got needs. They've got wants. But guess what? They're still men of God. Because even David was still a man of God, even though he saw Bathsheba bathing and he went and slept with Bathsheba. Still a man after God's own heart. So it's just a book that speaks to pastor by day, player by night. Not to expose, but that just to bring realization to the issues that happen around the men of God that you believe in and you ought to still believe in, yet you know that they've got human needs and human wants. Yeah.
Alright, before we shut it down, just give us like a brief motivation for someone who's feeling suicidal, or someone who feels like they're caged, someone who feels like it's the end of the road, someone who feels like they're not in the right world, or someone will be like, I'm not in the right country, someone will be like they just lost their job, someone who's going through the most.
You know, and I love the word you just used right there, the last word you used. You say someone who's going through. That in itself is motivation. You are going through. You are not staying in it. Through is a word that means there's an entrance point and an exit point. Through, I went through something. It doesn't mean you are staying in it. I went through trial and tribulation. I went through poverty. I went through debt. I went through a divorce. I went through child labor. Everything that you go through has got a positive at the end, because the through part of it is the experience, but what you come out of is the through that you look at and say, I went through. So when you ask me and say someone who's going through is someone who's already positively in a mental space, mentally in a positive space, to say I am not here to stay in what I am going through, right? So whenever you use the word through in a sentence, you're speaking positivity to your life. Whenever you use through in a sentence, you're speaking victory over your life. When you're using through in a sentence, you're saying, I'm going to come out of it. No one who says, I went through or I'm going through, doesn't see the end goal. You're going through, yes, it might be bleak right now. You're going through a tunnel. It might be bleak, it might be dark. You don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Go through, right? Because going through doesn't mean you are staying in it. David says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Friend, whatever you're going through, you are not there to stay. You're in it, you will come out of it. How you come out of it is your choice. Make the right choices to say, I am not staying put. Make the right choices to say, I am not sitting down. Make the right choices to say, I am not giving up. Make the right choices to say, I will surround myself with better people who will help me out of the situation that I am. So whatever it is you're going through, faithfully, positively, honestly, wholeheartedly, mentally, go through it. Go through it.
Aim for the A.
Aim for the A. My name is Thabo Andyle Mhlanga, the AAA rated, the amazing, the astonishing, and the authentic. Malume Ace. Andile, aim for the A.
Malume Ace, no, it's been nice having you on the 20th Avenue podcast.
Thank you, 20th Avenue. I appreciate, man. I appreciate.